Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back on the dev server once again because Gaijin have once again updated it. It seems like every day they're updating it, which is kind of crazy. And also, just to remind you, the FIROS event has started today. So if you want to get this thing, you can start grinding it. We'll go through all of the changes that happened in this dev server. There is a few things that are sat in the files that I do want to mention first, because I don't think it's enough for like one video. Basically, they've added some Chinese bombs to the files, the GB250A, the 250A1, and the TG250ER. Basically, these are kind of guided or glided bombs, or both, and they're just sat around. And then also, they've added some loadout icons for those KH-59s that we talked about. Remember those wonderful cruise missiles? Yep, so it looks like they're going to be trying to get them in one way or another. As always, though, if you enjoy this content, make sure to subscribe and like the video. Let's get started on the rest of the changes. So first of all, the FIROS. You may have noticed it's gone up in BR, and it is now at 7.7. But there is a reason for this. It's because they have changed the rockets. The ARF XM3s now have 250 millimeters of penetration instead of the 150 millimeters that they had previously. So going up in BR plus having access to better kind of rockets, this will probably help it go a little bit crazy. So yeah, we'll have to see how this thing does. Obviously, this has buffed it quite immensely, meaning that you can penetrate pretty much everything, which is quite nice. There is a few other BR changes also that is around. So, for example, the first one, which seems kind of ridiculous, the J-11B. So this is now down to 13.7. So it's exactly the same BR as the J-11A, but it is just functionally better in every single way. So don't exactly know what's going on with this, but yeah, it's now down to 13.7 instead of 14.0. Also, the J-35D in simulator battles is going down to 10.3, and also the J-11B once again in simulator battles is going down to 13.7. So I don't know what's going on. It just seems so weird that this vehicle, which is a fundamental upgrade over the other vehicle that we have, the J-11A, it's going to be at exactly the same BR as it. Seems a little bit odd. The next part is some DM changes, stuff like the Harrier, for example, the T10. This is also affecting the Jaguar GR1, the Tornado GR Mark 1, and then also the Mark 7. Basically, all these guys have a thermal pod, right? The TL'd pod, which you can see right here. So the TGP zoom, or the targeting pod zoom, is going from 7.38 to 30.69 to 11.02 and 55.8 times. So this targeting pod is going to be so much better compared to what it was before. You'll be able to zoom in and see basically anything you want. It's also being a thermal pod. I mean, 55 times zoom is kind of crazy. They also added back some missing weapon sights to the MiG-29 and also the Su-25 SM-3, and also added sensor fusion to the Su-25 SM-3. They've also added it to a bunch of helicopters. So the Apaches, and then also you have the K-52, the Mi-8s, the Tiger Hawks, and the Tiger Hads. Basically anything that has access to these kind of updated X-rays and updated setups, but I'm not sure exactly what sensor fusion actually means. You can see here sensors, RWR, and more. Not entirely sure if that's what it's talking about or if it's talking about something else. If you have any information, I would love to know. It's just not something that I've come across in War Thunder before, so I'm guessing it's linked to the DMs and also how it works. We'll have to see kind of going forward. They also changed some custom loadouts for the F-14B, basically making it so you can go faster while dropping 2,000 pounders, and then also at the same time changing some of the stock loadouts for the FA-18C and the FA-18A. So basically giving it access to different setups. Before it was 8 1,000 pounders, 1 500, and then also 2 AIM-7P and 2 AIM-9L. That was kind of like your stock loadout that you could take with this thing. Now it's going to be 9 1,000 pounders, 2 AIM-7Ps, and 1 AIM-9L. So a slight improvement, but nothing too crazy. It's basically running this alongside the AIM-7Ps, and which are these, and then also the AIM 9Ls. So it's basically it's just to make it a bit easier to grind these things out, which, as we know, is kind of annoying. It's one of those where grinding high-tier vehicles is pretty tough to do, so hopefully they can get that going. Another thing they've also added, which I think is actually really cool, is they've added helicopters to the test drive. So I'll show you with the XM246, the new vehicle that they've brought in. Basically, depending on which test drive you're on, you're either going to see a NATO target, or you're going to see a USSR or Chinese one. So you either get the Scout for NATO. You can see here, this is the Scout that's wandering around. But for the USSR, you can get the AH-1G. And for China, you can get the MA4AV. So it basically means that you're able to kind of test shoot and target these things, not just with, you know, gun AAs, but also with IRAAs, which is really cool. It's on top of the other 3 plane ones. And I'll just show you the, well, we can show the USSR one, I suppose, since that one is probably the closest. We'll get the good old Shigler out to show you. But yeah, it's one of those which I think is really cool. Obviously, improvements to the test drive is a huge thing. It's really nice to see that they're doing this. Here you go. You can see the good old AH-1G Cobra that's turned up. So yeah, you're able to you're able to target them and have a go at them and kind of learn how to shoot at the targets and have a bit of fun with it. So yeah, that's the idea. The other one, as I said, is the MI4 for China. So that's also turned up. Wow, these Iglas are not doing a lot, are they? But yeah, so that's kind of cool. I like the fact that they've added that. Now, let's talk about a upgrade that has happened to a vehicle that has caused a lot of controversy so far. The VT5, once again. The vehicle that all of China is holding its hopes for as it goes around. So what have they done to this thing? What have they added once again in this little update to the VT5? Well, guess what? They have finally destroyed... Oh my... Sorry, they still haven't fixed that bug, so hopefully this fixes it. They finally added the spore liners to it and also fixed the composite screens on the vehicle itself. Ah! Okay, hopefully that's fixed. Also, at the same time, they just updated the dev again. So we'll have to see what changes come through. Ah, I'm going nuts. Anyway, so talking about the VT5. What they've done is they've added spore liners to it. So now this vehicle will be a lot more survivable than it was before. Still doesn't really have great armor. They did actually change the composite screens on it. So the composite screens on the front, they also have a better armor modifier against KE, so kinetic energy. They are now 20% instead of 14. So you can see here they actually do have quite a lot of armor, at least in this little area on the cheeks. Everywhere else it's bupkis, but you do have the spore liner to be able to cover you. So that's really cool and nice to see from the vehicle. Also, some other changes that they've made. They brought the other Chihas up to the Chiha Kai standard. So if you may remember, when it came to the Chihas, they actually changed where the ammo is. So now what they've done for the Chiha Kais, the standard one and also the TD, they've also done that. So they've actually put the ammo in the correct places where it's supposed to be, which is quite cool. They've also changed the camo limits on the FIROS, so they have basically massively improved its elevation, and that's obviously a huge thing for the vehicle, so you can fire a bit more upwards. And also they changed the sight on it, so it's a little bit easier to use, where obviously previously it wasn't as good. It had a bit of a problem in terms of the way that it was set up. So a little bit nicer to use, and obviously we have the custom sight stuff that we talked about before, but the main change on this thing is obviously the penetration on the rounds is a lot better, so you'll be able just to kind of go through a lot of stuff like butter, which will be really nice. So that is some of the main stuff. One of the things I should also say is they have actually changed some of the other premium text and stuff like that. We did actually see some kind of icons and stuff that they were adding in more recently to these things. So that's obviously something that they're working on. I don't know whether on the live server this thing is actually the way it is or not, or if it's just a dev server thing, but this is what the premium account stuff looks like right now. And this is something that they're actually, changing in terms of like the text that's here, and then also this. So once again, just bringing the UI up to a new standard. I can't remember, as I said, if this is on the live server. I apologize if it is, but also, as I said, they're just changing the text and just making it a bit cleaner, which I think we can all kind of enjoy and just, get sorted. The other thing is this did also get its camos now. So it's got desert, it's got the tricolor, and then also the winter. So hopefully it can get some more stuff. It doesn't get a unique camo for the event. That kind of sucks, but c'est la vie. What are you gonna do? So that's the main stuff when it comes to the dev server update. If there's more stuff, I'll let you know. But at least for now, that is what's going on. It's still a bit buggy, still a few issues here and there, but it'll get there. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.